Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so I really don't want to make this video today, but I feel I feel compelled to make this video. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Raw Beauty Christie released a video last night. The video is currently sitting at 38,000 views. It is called Finally Addressing the Rumors. In the description box, she says, I am addressing it once and for all. So I started getting sent this video last night by a lot of people. People were direct messaging it, sending it to me, asking me, they wanted to see my reaction to it. They were telling me that Christie referenced me in the video, but she didn't call me out by name. And I was like, okay, what's this about? I haven't made a video about Raw Beauty Christie in over 2 months. I was like, what's this about? So last night I watched a video. I've now watched a video like 3 times because I wanted to fact check myself. I wanted to make sure. People were saying, you know, coming over to my channel and saying I owed Christie a public apology. I have made direct apology videos to people before when I've gotten stuff wrong and was misinformed. I have literally made dedicated videos just apologizing to people. I'm not really sure in this situation what I owe a public apology to Christie for. In all sincerity, I've watched the video now a couple times, and I have fact-checked stuff. Not to mention that there are so many people besides myself that have made videos that got, my videos that I made on YouTube about Raw Beauty Christie got the least views of anybody that was covering it at the time. There were channels that had lower subscriber counts than me that were getting double numbers than me. There are channels out there that were getting 200, 300,000 views on their Christie videos. I think maybe I got 30,000 views on like my highest viewed video. I don't know. There were TikToks that were getting hundreds of thousands of views. So when I'm watching this and she mentions this phone call and then I start reading the comments and Christie is directly talking about me in the comments. She mentions my name. People are saying my name a lot. My name is a lot in the comment sections of her videos. They're not calling out the other channels that made videos, that made multiple videos about Christie. They're not calling out those channels for making regular videos almost every other day about Christie. I made a lot of videos about Christie at the time, but I wasn't the only one. There were TikToks that people were covering this every single day. They were getting hundreds of thousands of views. There were YouTubers, like I said, that were getting so many more views than I was getting and a lot more traction. There were articles that were written about all this stuff. So when I was reading it and I was reading some of her comments, and some of her comments are rather biting. I mean, she speaks to me directly in one of the comments and says, I know you're watching this, something to that effect. Yeah, of course I watched it. You mentioned me in it. You wanted me to respond to that. That's what you wanted. So yeah, of course I watched it, Christie. And I've also been waiting a long time to see if you were going to respond to this or not. There's this misconception that I demanded that from Christie. You cannot find in any video where I said Christie must respond to this. I've never said that. So when I was watching this video and I was reading the comments, I was like, this feels rather personal to me. This feels like, Christie at the time, if she was watching the videos and she knew what was going on, she must have been aware that there were, she even mentions it in her video. She says there was TikToks made about me, there were articles written about me, there were YouTube videos made about me. She talks about the Reddit snark at length in there. So I'm not really sure why all of her anger is immediately directed towards me. To be honest with you, I don't understand it. I think I get it. Because I've kind of been there before with other people, that when I was friendly with other influencers and had really supported them and, positively supported them and things like that through the years, and then I made a critical video about them or called them out on something, all of a sudden it switched. Christie insinuated in the video a couple different things she talked about this phone call, which I'm going to get into in just a second. She said that a drama channel got her on the phone and then twisted and turned everything she said. She also says something in her video, and I think this is very important. She says that that if you see something on the internet, it doesn't make it true. And that also applies to Christie's video, okay? Christie gives very few facts in this video and leads with emotion. And I think that that's important when you're watching the video, because because a lot of people are saying, I never believed this, blah, 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 blah. I never thought anything about this, and I knew it was never true, and whatever. Well, there's a lot of things that go into the lore of what happened to Christie the last couple years, okay? And it is not all just about Kristi's son wearing a t-shirt at a parade on 4th of July, and the t-shirt was aligned with an organization that was anti-trans. That is like the very last thing. Okay, there's a lot of things that lead up to that from before then. And so she's making it very specific about this one thing. And I will say this, I appreciate the fact that Christie attempted to finally come out and address this very small part of what a lot of her fans have been asking for her to address for a very long time. A lot of you guys out there have really wanted Christie to address these things. I wanted her to. As somebody that had loved Christie for a really long time and thought very highly of Christie, was one of the only channels that got on publicly and said, let's get Christie to 1 million subscribers. Supported Christie for years. Shouted out her channel for years. Loved Christie. Like I said, I never demanded anything. I was concerned. We live in a climate right now that if it's surprising to anybody that LGBTQIA plus people are concerned for their rights and their well-being, and you see somebody that you love online, that you thought that your ideology lined up with them and that they were an ally and they supported you, then it's troublesome for you. You feel like, I don't know that I can continue to support this person anymore. And so for me, that's how I was viewing things. I had supported Christie for years. There's this rhetoric out there that I have hated Christie and it was my intention to take her down. We're going to do a history lesson here in a second, but that is just not the case. Go back. I have made very positive videos about Christie. I have a drama opera that I sang. I added Christie's name in there. Christie was somebody that I loved for many, many years. I've said that in almost every one of my videos. I've been very fair to Christie. I went back and watched my last video that I posted 2 months ago. The last video that I created before Christie, before that, was 2 months before that. If I was trying to bankroll on Christie, I would be making videos every week about her. I've made 2 videos in 4 months about Christie, okay? So, and a lot of people have sent me things. I can tell you that regularly people send me things about Christie. People send me outlines of her videos and what she talked about in her videos. I have enough information that I can make videos about Christie regularly. I choose not to today. I feel like at this point, until last night when she posted this video, I had said what I needed to say. So, for me, like she said in her video, she said she's always been a supporter of LGBTQIA plus rights and that she's a trans ally. That, as a gay man in the United States has fought for my rights, is hard to hear somebody say. And this is not me, again, demanding it. But when you are under scrutiny, okay, for, like, I love the line from The Contender, the movie The Contender, when she says principles only mean something if you stick to them when they're inconvenient. You know, that for her to come out and say that now, when it would have meant so much more back then, and like, she didn't have to, she doesn't owe us anything. I've said that in almost every video that I've covered of Christie. She doesn't owe us anything. But if you want to say proudly that you're a trans ally, okay, today, then you could have said it a year ago. Christie addresses the fact that the reason she didn't make this video until now. She says a couple different things, actually. So I'm not really sure which one is true. In the comment section, she says that if she had made it a year ago, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because the people that were going to believe it were going to believe it, and the people that weren't going to believe it weren't going to believe it. Okay, that's true. But that's still true today. That was true when it happened, and that was true a year ago. So I don't know how that changes anything. She says that the homeschool co-op is no longer together. So there's no threat of the people that were involved in that situation being doxxed and being harassed anymore, because apparently they were being doxxed and harassed. I was not aware of that. I was not aware of that because Christie has never mentioned that before, okay? I do not stand behind that. I've made that very clear in my videos. I do not stand behind that at all. In fact, okay, and I can't even imagine if that was happening to people that I loved, that I would sit silently by and allow that to happen. Okay? And just to give an example, I was involved in a horrific car accident where a man passed away. And that family has had their name doxxed all over line, okay? And I have asked in multiple videos, they do not want their name out there. Please do not put their name out there, and people continue to do it. Actually, Christie, people in your comment sections are people that have endorsed that behavior. People that you are responding to in the comment section of this video, while your intention is to show that I am a horrible, evil drama channel, okay? So I do understand what that's like. I 100% do, and I don't support that behavior at all, which is why I came out in multiple videos and said, you have an issue with me, take it up with me. Please do not come for these people. They didn't do anything wrong. This has nothing to do with them. You want to come for me, okay? So I to be honest with you, like, I get what you're trying to say about you were trying to protect these people by staying silent, but whether you stayed silent, and I know this, whether you stayed silent or whether you said something, it was the people out there that were going to do it. And it wasn't drama channels. I've never reached out to anybody. I don't believe in taking anybody's money out of their pocket. I've never reached out to a sponsor for anybody. I've never even striked a video on anybody's channel. I have never done that. I've never reported a channel. I have never tried to take money out of anybody's pocket. I didn't tell anybody not to watch your videos. I said, watch Christie if that's what you want to watch. I have said that in multiple videos. I've never tried to take money out of your pocket, okay? So when I watched this video, in all honesty, where you said addressing the rumors, I thought a little bit you might be like, well, I kind of understand why people are upset or they didn't understand because I stayed silent for so long. This video that you made was angry, Christie. Like, it was really angry. And I don't know, like, it really seems like I watched the video and people were like, she's really upset with you. And I was like, well, she really only talked about me for a part of it. You know, she talked a lot about Reddit, which is interesting, but she talked a little bit about Reddit on there, a lot about Reddit, I guess. She talked about what's not true and what's not true. She said in there that she wasn't ever going to, like, start a homeschool on her property, that she was just hosting it. Okay, we'll get to that in just a second, because Christie said I lie and I manipulate and I twist the truth. So we're going to do a history lesson here in just a second of why people take issue with Christie, because I take a lie with that, or I take issue with that, with being called a liar, when she knows the truth. That's, I think, this is the thing. I appreciate Christie finally coming out and attempting to address these things. What I don't appreciate is you trying to deflect it on somebody else, okay? You could have come out and just addressed this without having to make it about somebody else, but I chose to make those videos. I chose to make those videos, so I guess I'm in the hot seat, okay? So, since I'm in the hot seat, let's talk about a few things, okay? I wrote out several notes on here, so let me get to this, okay? One of the things is, first of all, that I wanted to say, and I started saying this at the beginning, was I didn't really understand what her specific anger is towards me. Now, in the video, the only thing she really says referencing me, she talks about drama channels, okay? And drama channels, they twist things up, and their sole intention is really to misconstrue and lead you to think a certain way and blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so that's her intention with drama channels. I guess she forgets that drama channels really helped build her career quite a bit when the Jaclyn Hill that's not a joke, okay? When the Jaclyn Hill lipstick situation came out and she pulled out her microscope, it was drama channels that talked about that and heavily sent a lot of people Raw Beauty Christie's way, okay? It wasn't like that video just sitting out there was doing anything on its own. A lot of people were talking about it, including drama channels. So when you were benefiting off of us and we were saying Christie's the voice of reason and we were saying we all liked you, Christie, you were good with drama channels. Not just me. You said in the video just one drama channel, and then once you realized what I was all about. First of all, I want to make this very clear, okay? I am not just a drama channel. I have 8 channels. Yesterday, I posted on all 8 of my channels, okay? I don't today in my life give any attention to one channel more than the other, except for probably my vlog, where I sit on the front porch, I talk about my dogs, I talk about what TV shows I watched the night before, what books I'm reading, what puzzles I'm doing on my iPad app, okay? I don't know when I would find the time to sit there and take down Raw Beauty Christie. That has never been my intention, okay? And we're gonna, like I said, do a history lesson, because I just kind of fell into this. Like I said, I was somebody that was, I loved Christie. I loved watching her videos. I thought she was the voice of reason. This is not something new to this video that I'm coming up with as an excuse, like she's doing in her video. You can go back and watch my numerous videos that I've made about Christie, and almost every single one of them, I have said this exact same thing. I loved Christie. I supported her for years. I was disappointed in her. I didn't understand. I was confused. I've said those same things in almost every single one of my videos. But what I realized was, and why it's so personal to her, and why she doesn't have an issue with, I could name off the 5 YouTube channels that made videos that got many more views than I ever did. Why she has no issue with them, but she has an issue with me, is because she had no personal relationship with them. And to be honest with you, we didn't even really have that personal relationship. We had talked a couple times in DMs, we had shouted each other's videos out, but she knew I supported her. So for Christie, it is personal. Just like it was personal for Shane Dawson, just like it was personal for Jeffree Star, just like it was personal for Trisha Paytas. When I flipped and started calling them out and criticizing them on things that they were doing online, that's my job as a drama commentary channel. When people get themselves in scandal, I respond to it. That's my job as a drama commentary channel, okay? I've never shied away from that. I've always said I'm a shit-talking gossip tea channel. Call me what you want. That's what I've always said. I've never shied away from that. I've never called myself a reporter. I've never called myself a journalist. None of that. So for Christie, it's personal. That's why you don't hear her talking about any of the other channels, TikTokers, magazine articles that were written about her in her comment section. It's all about Peter Monn because it's personal. So I don't know what people are saying. I'm upset because I couldn't manipulate Christie. It sounds like she's upset because she couldn't manipulate me, is what it sounds like. And I had really never thought of that until this moment, because I was like, this doesn't match. None of it matches to me. Then I watched it back the 3rd time. At the very beginning, she leads with this article, because I was like, why now? Okay? Yeah, I understand, like, the school situation and whatever, but people are going to do what they're going to do, right? And as a person that lives online, you know that. So why now? Well, she leads this with talking about this magazine article that's being written about her, about being down this right all crunch pipeline, okay? Which really, in all honesty, has very little to do with the anti-trans thing. She spins it into it being about the anti-trans thing, but it has very, very little to do with that, all right? It has to do with Christie talking about medical conspiracies through the years on her channel. That's when people started side-eyeing her. She makes it, the whole video is all about this anti-trans thing, okay? You go read anything online, videos have been made by people that do heavily follow Christie, and people are like, she is a conspiracy theorist, she talks about lead in this, she talks about how she won't eat that food, and she won't do this. It has to do with that, Christie. It has to do with you talking about your spiritual journey online, which I do as well. You got to be very careful when you're doing that stuff, because you're going to offend some people, because not everybody believes the way that you do. I understand that, because when I talk about my spiritual beliefs, I understand that I'm going to offend some people. But that's part of why people question that with you, okay? She talks about the homesteading. Everybody that homestead, not everybody that is a homesteader is seen that way, Christie. It's a lot of what you've put out in your videos that people have clocked for years and years and years, okay? It has very little to do with the anti-trans situation. It has to do with a lot of medical stuff that you've talked about online. It has to do with a lot of conspiracies that you've talked about online. It has to do with all that kind of stuff. It has very little to do with this trans situation. So for me, I'm like, what is this video about? And then she's talking about is she getting ahead of this article? I can tell you, I've not been reached out to anybody, okay, to participate in any kind of article. I am from time to time on different people, and I very rarely participate. So I don't know if that's what Christie's worried about this article coming out. I have not heard anything about it. I don't know anything about this article. I don't know if Christie's worried about this article coming out, so she's like, I'm going to get ahead of it and put this video out and let everybody know that I don't agree with the Don't Mess With Kids organization, and that I'm an ally of the gays all the way and trans people. I don't know. I don't know what the intention of why the video comes out now. She says in there it's because the homeschool co-op is no longer existing, so she doesn't have to worry about protecting those people anymore. That makes sense to me. I get that. But at the same time, I'm like, if that were happening to people that you absolutely loved, wouldn't you take some action? I mean, I would. I have. So I don't know. I don't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily line up for me. And like I said, the other people out there that have made videos about her have been 10 times tougher and more critical than I have ever been. Go watch their videos. Go watch their videos that they have made about Christie. 100 times more critical than I have ever been. I've been very, very fair to Christie in my videos, especially in the last year. I've been very fair to her. So let's just not act like this is the only issue that people take issue with you, Christie, okay? For example, you never discussed, and still haven't yet, in this video talking about I'm dressing everything, where this all started with, which was the James Charles situation. Now, you addressed it in a comment underneath the video, but you didn't address it in this video, and you don't have to. Like I said, you don't owe us anything, and I've never demanded that from you, okay? What I actually said was that after we got off the phone call, okay, and you told me what your plan was to do with it, that I sat there on it for a couple days and I was like, okay, if she doesn't make a video by this point, then I will share that I talked to Christie about it. It wasn't a demand. It was a timeline for me. It was a boundary that I set for me, okay? That I was actually giving you grace to see if you were going to actually handle it appropriately. You chose not to. You still haven't addressed it to this day, okay? So if I had said in my head, I'll wait till Christie addresses it, I would still be sitting on it today. As a drama channel, that's my job, okay? It was not me demanding it, all right? Unlike, you want to share in here, somebody asks you a question. Jen loves reviews. Somebody asks you the question underneath here. Hold on, in your comment section. Somebody said something about, did you explain the truth to Jen loves reviews? Because she also perpetuated the same lies and seemed to believe them even after claiming to have spoken to you about them. And your response is, yes, I explained in detail in a 25-minute long Marco Polo and text thread to her that I am absolutely, unequivocally not anti-LGBT and that I absolutely support trans rights. She let me know that she was not trying to hurt me and it hurt her to unfriend me, but that if I don't denounce, don't mess with our kids publicly, she wouldn't be able to be my friend anymore. It was her choice and I don't fault her for it. You don't fault her for it. But you're continuing to lead the narrative in your comment section that I demanded a response from you. You said that in your comment section. Well, this sounds, she said to you, if you didn't denounce, don't mess with kids publicly, she wouldn't be able to be your friend anymore. It was her choice and I don't fault her for it, but she absolutely knew where I stood day one. Everything I said in this video, I said to her privately. So, Christie, you talked to her long after you ever talked to me, because we talked about the James Charles situation. In the video, you made it act like it was about the anti-trans situation. Christie and I have talked on the phone one time, and it was at her request, okay? She messaged me on Twitter, which I don't even use anymore. I went in last night to look at the DMs, which are still there, and screenshot them. I will get to this in a second. She reached out to me and asked me if I could talk. I gave her my phone number. In the video, she said a drama channel got her on the phone. I'm not really sure how I got you on the phone. When you reached out to me, here, we'll just read this right now, okay? We'll just read this right now, because I got it all pulled up right here. Okay, here it is, September 4th, 2023, Labor Day. Hey, Peter, is there any way we could chat? I can either message you here if you prefer, or FaceTime or phone call you if you are available too. That was at 5:13 p.m. I told you on the phone that we were getting ready to leave and I didn't have very much time to talk on the phone. 5:49, I responded to you. Yeah, we can talk on the phone, and I gave you my phone number, okay? 5:59, 10 minutes later, I obviously was so on this that I responded to you immediately. No, I responded to you almost 45 minutes later, but you responded to me in 10 minutes. Sure, can I call now, or are you available at a specific time, okay? And 5 minutes later, I said, yep, you can call me now, and we talked on the phone. In this video, you insinuated that I got you on, your words were, a drama channel got you on the phone. How did I get you on the phone when you asked me for the phone call, okay? Since that phone call, I have made a solid rule. I don't talk to any influencers on the phone anymore, okay, that want to reach out to me for help. If you have a tape of that phone call, Christie, I give you full consent. I give you full consent to play the recording of that tape. Play it. Because you want to sit in this video and say that I lied and I twisted your words, okay? Well, here's what happened on that phone call. Christie called me, and it was about James Charles, okay? And we'll get to this history lesson in just a second. She called me because I had made a video about James Charles. I had made a video about the fact that she was still following James Charles. At that time, I did not know that Christie was liking photos of James Charles, liking his painted comment. In fact, one of the comments that Christie has on her video right now from somebody that has commented multiple times on Christie's video, it was interesting because they're saying that I hate Christie and that I like all this kind of stuff. And they're saying all this kind of stuff on Christie's video in support of Christie, but they're actually the one, I looked this up, this is from September 3rd of 2023, the day before I talked to Christie on the phone. This person commented on my video, the same person that's now on Christie's video, saying how much they love her and how much a hater I am of her, and they always knew I was a liar. Well, that same person left a comment on my video saying, Raw Beauty Christie follows James Charles too, and she liked his post about his new brand painted just recently. I'm so sad about it because I love her. If it weren't for that person singing your praises in your comment section, Christie, right now, I wouldn't have even known that you were liking posts on his Instagram, okay? Which you told me that you were just rolling through posts. You didn't even know what you were liking or not. You just liked a bunch of posts on Instagram, okay? And then somebody responded to it and said, this just broke my heart. I didn't see that from her, but I literally am down to like 2 people who still have souls. I'm disappointed. Okay, so let's talk about the situation and how it all really went down. At the time that this happened, Christie was making videos called Unpopular Opinions, where she would go and she would talk about things like the 8-passenger situation, and she made a video talking about Colleen Ballinger, okay? And she made a video talking about, I have heavily covered the Colleen Ballinger situation, okay? On the heels of covering the Colleen Ballinger situation, I compared Colleen Ballinger to James Charles, all right? So in that comparison, and there were 2 articles that came out. There was an article in Vanity Fair about Colleen Ballinger, and there was an article in Cosmopolitan that came out about James Charles called Please Uncancel Me, all right? When I was covering the stuff to do with James Charles and Colleen Ballinger, I happened to go into James Charles one day and look and see who James Charles was following that I followed, okay? And I saw that it was 3 people on there, and Christie was one of them. I made a video, and in that video, I did not just mention Christie's name, okay? I mentioned other people that continue to follow Christie too. There were other people that I mentioned. That she was just one person that I mentioned, okay? And I made it very, very... people want to put the Predator Protector name on me. I didn't even come up with that name. I think it was Marlene Estelle that came up with that name. I never even invented that word, okay? So then that was the whole thing. So I made the video about Christie, okay? I think it was on the 2nd or the 3rd. And I made the video about her, got the comment, and saw that she was liking posts, okay? So then I went in and I looked, and Christie still was following James Charles. That's her prerogative. She can do that. And I noticed that she had liked several posts of James Charles, recent posts, okay? Like in the last 2 days. Christie reaches out to me and she calls me, okay? Now, one of the reasons I was interested in this was because Christie had a lot to say in her Unpopular Opinions videos, which were garnering her a lot of traffic on her channel. It was the videos that she would do at the end of the month as AdSense was ending. And she would talk about heavy topics, okay? She talked about the OG beauty influencers and how they drove PJs and private jets and how they all wore Gucci. She was very bitter about that whole group, of not being part of that group. She talked a lot about James Charles in there, having met James Charles. She talked in there about other things. She talked about different makeup, which she wouldn't use. She talked about Colleen Ballinger. That was the last video before my video that I posted. She talked about Colleen Ballinger, okay? And in fact, in that video, since I have such a piss-poor memory, I remember that what she said about Colleen Ballinger, she cut that part off. Because in our phone conversation that I apparently twisted and turned everything that she said, I asked her, can I ask you a question? She said, what? And I said, you edited out what you ended up saying about Colleen Ballinger. What was said? And she was like, oh, like, I just didn't want to get into all of that on video, okay? So this is how the phone call went. Christie reached out to me. Here, let's read it again, since I apparently got her on a phone call, which is what Christie said in the video. A drama channel got her on the phone call and twisted and turned everything that I said around here. September 4th, 2023, 5:13 p.m. Hey, Peter. Is there any way we could chat? I can either message here if you prefer or FaceTime phone call you if you are available too. Yeah, we can just talk on the phone, and I gave her my phone number. Sure, can I call now or are you available at a specific time? Who's trying to get her on the phone, okay? Not me. She's trying to get me on the phone. And this is how the phone call went. Christie got on the phone. I said, hey. What I said to her was what I say to every person I've ever talked to on the phone that I've watched on YouTube before. It was the very first time I'd ever talked to Christie and the very last time that I've ever talked to Christie on the phone, okay? I said something to the effect of it was surreal talking to her on the phone because I've only ever watched her on video. I say that to almost anybody. You can fact check that with people I've talked to on YouTube for the very first time. It is surreal when you talk to somebody on the phone that you've only watched on video. Christie, we had little niceties. I talked to her about... you can fact check this too. I don't know where to find the pictures. She had just done a birthday party for one of her friends, and she had painted all these things that were Where the Wild Things Are. I said, I loved what you did. I love that book. It was one of my favorite childhood books, Where the Wild Things Are. She did all this stuff. She was doing very artsy birthday parties and stuff like that, and she did one for her friend's child. I loved it. And so I said to her, I love what you did about that. That was the beginning of the conversation. This is going to stop. Hold on. Okay. So in the conversation... I said to her at the beginning, after we talked about the Where the Wild Things Are and all that kind of stuff, I said, Christie, this is your phone call. What do you want to talk about? She brought up the video that I made. She said she didn't know what to do about it. I said, well, she's like, you're in the business of you know how to handle these situations. Okay, now I'm an evil drama channel that has turned and manipulated these things and twisted them around. But her, like Gabby Hanna in the past, like Jeffree Star in the past, have reached out to drama channels specifically because we know how to handle these situations, okay? Which is beyond. So you're reaching out to me to ask me what I would do in this situation. She asked me specifically if other drama channels, you know, who did I know was going to make a video? I said, I don't know anybody that's going to make a video about it, Christie. If I said to her, if I promised her that I wasn't going to make a video about it, I don't remember saying that, okay? I don't think I ever said that to Christie. What she said was, what would you do in this situation? And I said something to her to the effect of, I would just come out and own it and explain it, Christie. That's all your audience wants to hear. Okay, hey, I didn't know. She told me that she had met him at this conference years ago. She didn't talk to him. She had messaged him a few times, that she had been going through a lot of stuff recently, so she didn't keep up with anything, and that she didn't know what was really going on. She'd seen something about Tottie's video, but she didn't really know what was going on with that. She didn't know all the scandals that James Charles had been in. At the time on the phone, I kind of was like, how could she possibly not? She's talking about Colleen Ballinger in a video. How could she not know what was going on with James Charles? That was how she painted it to me, that she didn't know anything about it. And I said, well, just say that in your video. She goes, you think she goes, okay, I'm going to come out and I'm going to address it. She goes, I don't want it to look performative if I just unfollow him. I said, Christie, I don't know how I can twist this. I was completely honest with her. I said, it's going to look performative either way. If you unfollow him, it's going to look performative. If you don't unfollow him, it's going to look bad. If you unfollow and you get in a video, it's going to look like, you just need to get on a video and explain it if you want to. She goes, okay, I think you're right. That's what I'm going to do. I said, and I tell this to everybody, I am not telling you what to do. You do what you want to do, Christie. I never in the phone call ever once said, you must do this or I will make a video. I never once said, I am demanding this. I gave her advice, okay? She reached out to me for advice and I gave it to her, all right? When we got off the phone call, she said she was going to turn around, she was going to unfollow him, whatever. It took her days to unfollow that man, okay? Because she was so worried about the public's perception of how it was going to look performative. And to be honest with you, I didn't really care. But if I was going to call out other people, I was going to call out Christie too, okay? And by that point, other videos have been made by other YouTubers. And so when other people are talking about it, of course I'm going to talk about it. I had a direct link to it. I had a phone call with her. Of course I was going to talk to her about it. Of course I was. Or I was going to say something about it in a video. That's how it started, okay? It started with the James Charles situation. So for her to get into this video that has to do with the anti-trans rights, never, ever discuss the James Charles situation and imply that I got her on the phone to talk to her about the anti-trans, we've never had a conversation about that. Never. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I talked to somebody earlier today and they brought the phone call and they said, what phone call did you have about the anti-trans situation? I said, no phone call. Never had a phone call with her about that. None. The only phone call I had with her was about the James Charles situation and haven't talked to her since. Period. Don't plan to. Okay? And yes, I did make many videos about it. That's my job. I'm a drama commentary channel. Everybody was talking about it. There were a lot of channels that were making videos about it at the time. More videos than I was making. TikTok was going crazy. They were talking about it. Major publications were writing articles about it. It was a huge deal. Okay? And it was a huge deal because Colleen Ballinger had been called out. Christie decided to respond to it. And she was still following James Charles, who was a predator. That was the connection to it. Okay? A whole year later, that was in the summer, that was like August. Okay? A whole year later, no, that was September, because that was when we had the phone call. So September of 2023. July of 2024 is when she's at the 4th of July party. A whole year later, okay? Now that's a year that people have been clocking her behavior, clocking stuff she's saying in videos. She came back with a mocha latte look. People were expecting her to address it, okay? Now what happened in between that time was that a lot of people reached out to her, a lot of people that loved Christie, okay? Commenting on her videos. Not nasty, not demanding, just saying, Christie, I'm confused. I don't understand this. I've supported you for a long time, okay? And she would block them. I was getting sent, I can't even tell you how many direct messages from people saying, Christie blocked me. Christie blocked me on Instagram. Christie's never blocked me on Instagram. Christie blocked me on Instagram. Christie blocked me on her YouTube channel because I asked a question. They were sending me the questions they asked. So I saw that they were not nasty. It was things like, Christie, why will you not talk about what happened with James Charles, okay? Which to me, in all honesty, I never thought was that difficult of a thing to say anyway. Even if she got on video and said, I didn't really understand what was going on with James Charles, I just was liking some of his posts, and I was so out of it because I had gone through so much stuff in my past couple years that I wasn't really paying attention to the James Charles stuff. But what I realized was she couldn't come out and say that, because I went back and I watched some of her videos and she had addressed the James Charles situation. So when she wants to talk about how I twisted things on the video, it's actually her that twisted things, or on the phone call, okay? Because she said to me she did not know what was going on with the James Charles situation. She didn't keep that close to tabs. But she was talking about Colleen Ballinger, and I went back and I watched some of her videos and she had talked about James Charles. So she was fully aware. So Christie lied to me on the phone, okay? Fine, you lied to me on the phone. It would have been very simple for you to come out at the time and just say, I shouldn't have fucking followed him, okay? Or, hey, I fucking follow him, get over it. There's a lot of people that have done that. You know, Manny MUA, Laura Lee, a lot of people follow James Charles, okay? You could have done that. But you got in your head, and that's not my doing. I didn't demand you to unfollow him. I just said I wasn't going to follow you anymore. I didn't do anything other than what Jen Loves Reviews did, okay? About a gay man that's perpetuating that gay men are perpetrators as a gay man in this country, okay? Jen has her reasons for why she takes issue with that. I have my issues for why. But you understand Jen, but you don't understand me, and I'm the enemy, okay? Okay. So then a year later, I was not even the first person that even talked about this online. I wasn't even the 5th or 10th person that talked about this anti-trans situation, okay? I wasn't one of the first people at all. And what happened was that this homeschool group on Facebook had Kristi's kid in the picture, and Kristi liked it, okay? And I think reshared it and then took it down or something, okay? Kristi did that. Did nobody ask Kristi to like the picture or reshare the picture on Facebook? People were watching Kristi very closely at that time, okay? And people were sending it to me. I've never looked at none of them people in that homeschool. I could care less. Homeschool the shit out of your kid. Put him in the most Christian co-op in the entire world. But then people started looking at this t-shirt that her kid had on her, okay? And it was directly lined with the anti-trans hate organization. That's the truth, okay? And when you read what the school motto was about this school, that she said that was her kid was going to be part of her sister's school, okay? It talks about the perverseness of the public school system. And so Kristi's wondering why she's talking about, got tarot card readers in her, no, baby, it's a Christian fundamental school, okay? Last night, I pulled it up and I read the mission statement for what the school is. It is a fundamental Christian school organization, okay? I cannot believe that anybody is doing no tarot card readings in there, Kristi. Maybe somebody has it as a hobby on the side and they ain't telling nobody, but it's a Christian fundamental school organization. They talk about being around the foundation of Jesus Christ, which if that's what you're wanting to look for in school to raise your kid, fine, girl. You're the parent. Do what you want to do with your kids. You know, if that's what you want, that's your business, okay? What you're having a hard time with is keeping your online persona to match and appease to certain people that you're afraid that isn't going to match what your offline beliefs are. You had family members like and posts on Instagram of very, very problematic posts that people were taking issue with, that were homophobic and transphobic, okay? Kristi, you were aligning yourself with people that not me, I never even mentioned that in the video. I even said in a video, she says this and uses this as a weapon. I said it in the video. I had one family member of Kristi's that reached out to me. I never even responded. I said in a video, I would never respond to that. I am not about that. I said that in the video, Kristi, okay? So then, she says in the video, at the beginning of it, hold on a second, let me get to my notes where I wrote this down. So she says in here that the misconception was that she was building a school on her property. Well, that misconception, Kristi, might come from you, okay? Since you want to say everybody's lying and twisting things around. Because you put up on an Instagram story, and this has gone around quite a bit, okay? You put up on this Instagram story this picture right here that I'll show up here somewhere, and it says, do any of you know for when we do decide on what we plan to do for his schooling, is hiring a teacher a thing? Like, can I create a little school building on our property and hire a licensed teacher to come teach him a small group of kids? You put that on your Instagram, Kristi. So when you're saying it's a misconception, I guess the misconception comes from you. And then later, in a Q&A that you did on Instagram, somebody asked you, and you got a picture of all the kids here with hearts over their faces. You're the one that posted a picture of all these kids. You said, somebody asked you, have you decided on homeschooling or not? And you said, yes, we will be homeschooling with a homeschool co-op. People put two and two together, Christie, because of what you said and assumed you were building a school on your property. Okay? So then what you decided to do was that you decided to allow them, because your kid is only 4 and doesn't go to school yet, even though he's in a lot of these school pictures, I guess. But then you let them use your gazebo out back, which I think is real nice, okay? That doesn't change the fact that this school is aligned with an organization that it's an anti-trans hate organization, okay? And I don't even have any fucking kids, but if my dog was gonna go to the bark park and there was even a possibility, or I'd been called out online about it being aligned with any anti-hate organization, you better bet your ass I'd be looking into that, okay? So I don't know who you're upset about this with. That would have been pretty easy for you to get up online a year and a half ago, and say, I didn't even know, okay? I had no clue, and I don't want to offend any of my fans out there that might think that I have any alignment with this whatsoever. And I don't think that would have furthered any more of I'm confused about it, Christie. I don't think that would have furthered any of the doxing. It would have nipped it in the butt. It would have nipped it in the butt. And in her comment section, she said, it wouldn't have mattered if I came out a year ago. It wouldn't have mattered if I came out now. Well, it wouldn't have mattered if you came out a year ago and people were getting doxxed. I would have come out a year ago to nip that in the butt and said, you guys, these people don't, if you want to be mad at me, be mad at me. But this is not about them, okay? So I'm not sure why you waited a year on it. I understand you being worried that, like, stirring up drama and stuff is going, I get that, right? But girl, I don't understand why all this is being directed at me, and I owe you a public apology. What do I owe you a public apology for? Then in the comment section, you have a lot to say in the comment section of your video. Somebody said, it felt like after the conversation with Peter, he got mad that she didn't do what he suggested and he flipped on her. And she said, this is exactly what happened. He was constantly telling me, you need to make a video. Constantly. Oh, in my videos? Constantly, I was telling you. In my videos, I was suggesting to you that you should make a video because I thought that it was a good thing to do for your audience. Absolutely, I did. 100%. I will own that all the time. Did I tell you that you had to make a video? You need to make a video. He said to me, don't worry, Christie, you won't get canceled. I won't make another video about this, and made like at least 50 more. 50 is a huge exaggeration, Christie. I did not make anywhere near 50 videos about you. I don't think there's 50 videos on my channel that exist about you. Not even, I haven't made a video about you in 2 months. He was pissed I didn't listen to him. No, sweetie, I could care less that you didn't listen to me, okay? This was what it was about, was that I cared about you as a person. You reached out to me because you thought I don't know. Why did you reach out to me? Okay? You either reach out to me for one or two reasons. Number one, because you thought I had good advice to give, which is what you told me. Or number two, because you were trying to manipulate a drama channel into not making more videos. I don't know which one it was, Christie. Okay? I gave you good advice. I told you how I would address it from having looked at multiple scandals of multiple influencers through the years. Okay? You chose not to do that. That's not on me. I wasn't mad about it, but I was going to continue to cover it because I'm a drama channel, and that's my job. And I know my job on this channel, okay? That was what I was going to do. I wasn't mad about it. I wasn't hurt. I was concerned about you as somebody that had loved you for years, had pushed your channel for years, had begged Shane Dawson to put you in his documentary about the beauty industry, that I said in multiple videos that he needed to put you in there. I said that try to get you to 1 million subscribers. Why all of a sudden would I turn on you, Christie? Why all of a sudden? That doesn't even make any sense, okay? That doesn't even make any sense. Even in my initial video calling you out about James Charles, I said it broke my heart. So why would I turn so quickly? Because I know that there's people out there that think I'm like this egomaniac, okay? But like, because you didn't take my advice, I turned on you that quickly. Well, Gabby Hanna didn't take my advice. I didn't turn on her that quickly. I think I mentioned it 6 months later. Never made 5 videos about her, okay? There's been a lot of people that have reached out to me for advice and never took it, and I didn't make video after video. I made video about your actions, Christie. Your actions. Not mine. Your actions. I didn't do that. Okay? I didn't have my kid in no parade. I did not do my research on what that organization was. I didn't put up on Instagram that I was thinking about building a building on my property to house a school. I didn't then later say that we were going to homeschool our kid in a co-op. And I sure as hell didn't reach out to myself to ask me to talk to you. So I'm really confused as to what I owe you a public apology about, other than the fact that I just was doing what every other drama channel was doing, which was covering the scandal of Raw Beauty Christie that you did, Christie. You were following James Charles, okay? There were a lot of people that unfollowed him after that. And I'm not saying that you had to, okay? But it would have aligned with what I thought of you at that time. I loved you. I cared about you. It didn't make sense to me. In one second, in one breath, you're talking about Colleen Ballinger, bad girl. But then you're still following James Charles and liking posts of his. And then got on video and said you didn't even know about it. Go back and fact check my videos. I said that from the very beginning. My story hasn't changed. Christie, play the recording if you have the recording of our phone conversation. Maybe I did promise you that I wasn't going to make any videos. My opinion changed, okay? Because I thought you would come out and address it, because that was what I knew of you. I knew that Christie was a person that always did the right thing. That's what I loved about you. You know? And I've been very fair to you in videos. I said that I felt like you were held to a different standard than other people because you were a voice of reason on YouTube. I've been very, very fair to you, Christie. And in many of my videos. Have I made some jokes from time to time? Yeah, I've been very, very fair to you, though. She said, I really know how to take a topic and pulverize it into the fucking ground. Well, Christie, recently I've tried to change my channel quite a bit like you did, okay? And I even addressed that in one of my videos that you came out a couple years ago and you didn't want to address it. Or you didn't want to come out and change your channel because you were worried about it. I've started doing reality TV coverage over here and people ask me to talk about the same 5 or 6 people. You're one of those people continue to ask me to talk about. Okay? So here's the comment from the person that's underneath in your comment section, I think in 3 different comments, talking about what a hate monger I am. And yet that's the person that let me know. And she liked his post about his new brand painted just recently, which I wouldn't even looked into if it wasn't for that person. I got their screenshot from you. Same name. Same name. So Christie, I don't understand what your hate is about this. I mean, here it is. Somebody said you could have addressed it at the time and laughed it off. No sense in dredging it up after so much time with so much explanation and details unless it's to stay relevant. Christie's response to that is, shut up. No, I couldn't have. Don't tell me what you think would have worked when it's not even working for you now. A very prominent large magazine publication is writing an article about me right now, so it's pretty relevant. So is it about the fact that the magazine is writing an article about you? Or is it about the fact that the homeschool co-op is closed down and you no longer have to protect these people? What's it about? I don't know. So, I'm confused about this. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said, I've never understood the demands of Peter Monn for you to speak out. I've never demanded it in a video. I made that very clear in numerous videos. There's nowhere in a video where I said, Christie must speak about this. Jen Love's reviews actually did say that. To Christie, she said it in the comment section. She said, I have to unfollow you if you do not address it. I've never once said that about Christie. Never once have I ever said that in any video, on any platform, anywhere. That shouldn't be a requirement. No one is perfect, and I don't need to know your thoughts on every single situation. The internet is so toxic and gross now. Christie responds to it and says, Peter isn't my real dad. Okay. He doesn't get to dictate when or how I speak out. I never have tried to dictate that, Christie. I'm a commentary channel that's been commenting on your fuck-ups. Never shied away from that. He is a liar and a manipulator. I know you'll see this, Peter. I stand by that. Of course I'm saying it. And I stand by this, Christie. What am I lying about? I don't even remember ever coming out and saying on a video that I said I wasn't going to make any more videos about you. What did I lie about, Christie? I took this phone call and twisted it and turned about it. Is that what you're pissed about? That I told you that you weren't going to get canceled over this? I'm not a fortune teller, Christie, okay? You still have a thriving career on YouTube. You have 2 channels, okay? You seem to be doing okay. So, I don't think you're too canceled over it. People aren't really talking about you anymore. I think the timing is weird. It's obviously all about this article, okay? I don't know what your beef is with me, Christie, when there's people that are getting many more views and all that out there than I'm ever getting. I really don't understand about it, Christie, okay? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, I'm really, really confused about why it's so personal to you with me. Like, I don't understand it. And there were, like, multiple things that you said in your video where you're like, oh, this is what happened, and this is it, and whatever, but, like, very little facts in your video for the entire comment section to say, I always knew Peter Monn was a liar, and I never believed you. Well, quite frankly, Christie, it's my word against yours, okay? And I don't know unless you have a recording, which I'm giving you full consent to play our conversation online. But you reached out to me for the phone call, okay? If I was so demanding of trying to get somebody that I loved, that I had made a video about, if I was so demanding of getting a response from you, I would have probably reached out to you and said, I want to talk to you. You reached out to me, okay? I gave you free time. I sat on my front porch downstairs and talked to you for a good hour on the phone, Christy, okay? Went on about my day. You were like, oh yeah, you're right, you need to do this, blah, 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 whatever. I don't even care if I was right about it, okay? You called me up. If I hated you that much on that James Charles video that I had made, why would I be telling you that I loved the Where the Wild Things decorations that you made and the cake? Why would I be saying that? Why would I be saying that it's so good to talk to you? Hey, this is your phone call. You asked me what you want. You asked for it. And then you asked me for advice to do with this situation. You say you didn't know anything that was going on with James Charles' cancellation. I even briefly explained it to you. Oh, really? Oh, okay. And then you're like, what should I do with this situation? I said, just come out and talk to your people and explain it. It would have been very simple. This anti-LGBT rally thing probably would never even happen, Christy, had you come out and addressed that. But you didn't. Girl, I'm not mad about that, okay? That doesn't affect me personally. It affected you, and that's what you said in this video. But that's not on me. You reached out for the phone call. You asked me for advice. I could care less that you didn't take my advice. A lot of people don't take my advice. I don't take a lot of people's advice. Okay? If I was going to get mad over every person that asked me for advice in my personal life on a daily basis and didn't take my advice, okay? I'd be a very angry person on a daily basis, but I'm not. So I don't really know what to say to you. You know, let me know what you want me to personally apologize for. Where was my actions for being a drama channel and making a video about you? You knew that's what I did, Christy. You knew that's what I did when you reached out to me for help. I don't know what to tell you, Christy. And I didn't lie about the phone call. Never lied about the phone call. Not once did I lie about it. Never did. Never lied about it. I mean, you said the misconception was that you were going to build a property on your school. There's factual evidence saying that you were asking people about building a property on your school. You're in this rally or this parade. You're in the back of the parade, so you didn't know that this woman was holding up a sign. There's actually pictures online of you guys all sitting together in a circle. You're standing outside of the circle. She's holding up the sign. I mean, there were a lot of signs there. It wasn't just one sign with that. I mean, Christy, I don't know. Like, this has been a conversation that's been going on for a long time. I mean, for me, I guess, I don't know. Are you worried about this article? Call the journalist. Call the journalist. But this ain't about me, okay? And this whole idea that Peter Monn had this intention to take down Raw Beauty Christie, if that were the case, I'd be making nonstop videos about Christie. I stopped a long time ago. I haven't made a video on her in 2 months until today, and she's the one that made the video that I'm responding to. I have no desire to take down Christie. I wish her the best. I've said that in multiple videos. I hope that she financially has all the success in the entire world. I hope that her pottery does very, very well. I hope that she's happy in her life. I hope that she's happy in her family with whatever choices that she makes, okay? But this is not about me. And Christie, when I was watching her video, I was like, I am so like confused as to why. And then I read the comments and I'm like, this is like, I am such a little part of all of this, right? So, Christie, I'm sorry that you have had a horrific past couple years, okay? Based on some of the things that you have chosen to do or not do or put out there in the world or not respond. That's on you, babe, okay? That's not on me. That's not on me. And, you know, I got to take accountability for the things that I do or don't do in my life, and we all have to do that, you know? I don't wish for anybody's career to be ruined, but you're still posting videos. I mean, if you're the one that comes out and says you're going to post a video every day in August and do Vlogust, okay, and that's your job is to make videos on YouTube, and you say, I'm going to post a video every day in August, and you post 3 videos, I don't know how that's my fault, okay, that your finances are going down the hill and you're losing sponsorships because people are reaching out. I don't condone that. I don't condone reaching out to sponsors. I don't condone doxing people or any of that kind of stuff, okay? But you have the opportunity to post videos every single day to make money on YouTube. And you have done a lot of sponsorships, okay? In the last couple videos that I've done about you, you have done a lot of sponsorships, Christie. So it's not like you lost all your sponsorships. So I don't know about that either. I'm confused. I mean, There was a video not too long ago that I did where one of the videos I did about you was that you didn't disclose that it was a sponsorship. And then you turned around and you put the disclosure in 12 hours later. So apparently my videos have lost you sponsorships, but my video talking about how you didn't disclose a sponsorship, you turned around because somebody notified you that I had said it in a video and you put the sponsorship disclosure in there. So did you lose your sponsorships or you didn't lose your sponsorships? I haven't done a sponsorship in probably a good year, okay? So I don't know, Christy. I don't know what to tell you. I'm very confused about your video. Your video seemed very angry to me and very pointed, and I'm not really sure who you're angry at. I'm not really sure if you're angry at drama channels or Reddit or your audience, but there's a lot of your audience out there, maybe not the ones that are singing your praises in the comment sections that you're keeping up there, or the people that you're not yelling at, but there's a lot of your audience that was upset because they asked you questions and you blocked them, you know, or you deleted their comments, or you just, I don't know, that they felt like they wanted something from you. I've said on here for a long time, Christy, that, and I know you're watching this, like you said about me, but I've said for a long time that I felt like you were held to a different standard, okay? And I relate to that, I do. And I think that's because you develop a very strong rapport with your audience, and people love you, okay? And I get that, Christy, because I felt the same way towards you. When you do that, it's not a superficial relationship. That's a true talent that you have, okay? A true talent to build a relationship with your audience. But when it goes deep like that, people are going to expect you to respond to things, okay? It's not just all these hate people out there. It's the people that love you too. And that's really what happened, was that a lot of those people were really just like, we don't know what to think of Christy. So when you're getting angry at everybody, I hope that you're taking those people into consideration too, because there's a lot of people out there that really, really love you. Anyway, let me know what you think about all that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.